Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday gathering. Oh, it's number 176. That's right. The chat box was hopping, and I am sorry if I didn't get to mention everybody by name, but they were coming in faster than I could read them. Our chat box is open during our Sunday gathering. We are part of a worldwide gathering. Just a lot of fun, love, joining our world and the unseen world, giving you hope and faith and comfort and joy and, well, smiles. And if I don't get a smile, that means you're not smiling. So if you see a smile on my face, trust me, I want to make sure you have the best experience ever. I am joined today, well, it's the three amigos today. We have Darren Wynn coming to us from England and the beautiful Shirley Sharp coming to us from New Zealand. She's up bright and early, just 6 a.m. for her. Bless her. Our friends Carrie and Phil have the day off. So, the three amigos are here. My friend Darren will be doing our prayers for us today, and also sharing in the address with myself. Shirley Ann is our guest medium, and she'll also be doing the words for the week. You have me for the reading, the healing, and also sharing in the address with Darren. If this is your first time or if you've been with us before, it's just a warm welcome. We're normally together 90 minutes-ish, but we're grateful you're here. And it is special. It is a very special time we are together. So there's no place I'd rather be. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Darren for the opening prayer.
Thank you for that wonderful intro, Sandra, and a massive welcome to each and every one of you. We was only talking at the beginning, episode 176. Wow, where has the time gone? And as time passes, we all age and start to show. But I want to go with what they're saying. No. I want to go with what Shirley Ann said. We go backwards. We start to look younger and feel younger. So, without further ado, if you'd like to close your eyes and join me for today's opening prayer. To our dear friends, helpers, and loved ones of that world we call unseen, we unite here together today in love, peace, and harmony as we unite together as friends, brothers, and sisters from within our lands. We unite here together as one to be of service in any way we can under that banner of We Don't Die, and to help bring the two worlds together again, once again here this Sunday. As we unite here together today, we do so from different countries within our lands, speaking different languages and having different dialects, and coming together from different backgrounds and different understandings. But today we come here together in the name of love, which each and every one of us knows is a universal language. As we unite here together, we come together in the knowing and understanding that country of residence, language spoken, and backgrounds is no barriers to your world. For if every one of us coming together here today will get to experience exactly the same thing. Your love, hear your words and thoughts, and be together within your company to experience the true essence of the spirit world. As we unite here together today, we cast aside our own wants, our own needs, and our own desires, so that we can truly come together as one for the good of all of mankind. And in doing so, we come together with no demands or no expectations, but allow our workers to be free and open to share the words and the thoughts that your world wishes to cascade here today for each and every one of us to listen to, and immerse ourselves once again in your unconditional love and healing balm. Each and every one of us finds it an absolute joy and privilege to walk hand in hand, side by side with your world, and we do this with the utmost integrity and respect, and to the best of our ability and understanding, and we truly hope we can make you proud here today. Once again, as we enter into this Sunday gathering, we do so with smiles upon our faces, positivity within our hearts and minds, and we offer you love in abundance, so we can truly create that perfect meeting ground in which the two worlds can come together once again. And we ask, as always, that that healing light continues to shine to all four corners of our worlds, to bring comfort and joy to all those hearts and minds that may be in need on this day. So without further ado, my friends, we welcome you here today. Amen.
Thank you so much, Darren. And now for your reading. Today, Phil has picked the theme of friendship and the hope and comfort that we can give and receive as friends. When you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand and nothing, oh, nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest nights. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. You probably recognize those lyrics from James Taylor. James Taylor, his 1971 hit, You've Got a Friend. That is very near and dear to my heart. Who is that person in your life that would be there for you? Do you have someone? Maybe a couple someones. I want to tell you a story about Judith. 5 months after moving to a new home with her new husband and then 2-year-old daughter, Judith gave birth to a beautiful girl who had a severe case of clubfoot. And due to her daughter's medical condition, she had to go to numerous doctor's appointments while taking care of her elder daughter at the same time. Feeling tired all of the time, Judith had difficulty maintaining the household chores. One day, after coming from a doctor's appointment, Judith was surprised to see her front door ajar. She cautiously entered her home, only to find that it was spotless. The floor was mopped, the dishes were all washed and dried, and the dirty laundry was washed and folded. There were even flowers beside her bed when she went upstairs. It turned out that the person who cleaned her house was her good friend, Joy. While driving by her home, Joy noticed that Judith's car was gone, so she took her opportunity to help her friend. And here's one more short story about friendship. After David's dear wife of 44 years died, he kept to himself and declined his friend Tony's invitation to go out for dinner. But that didn't stop Tony from reaching out to David and called him every week to invite him to dinner without fail. One day, David finally agreed to go out for a night with the guys, just to stop Tony from calling. Well, guess what? It's now been 6 years since his wife passed, and David goes out to dinner every week with Tony and the gang. They call themselves Romeo, which stands for Retired Old Men Eating Out. I love that. And here's a short poem by J. Dutt. When the world weighs you down, when unfavorable situations make you frown, count on me, my friend. When the world gives you trouble, when your agonies seem to have doubled, count on me, my friend. When everything around is a mess, when you can't handle any more stress, count on me, my friend. When everything seems to fall apart, when someone has broken your heart, count on me, my friend. When you need someone to hug you tight, when you need someone to say, everything will be all right, count on me, my friend. Who is that person for you that would be there for you, like the words of this poem? During the address, Darren and I will be sharing our true thoughts about friendship, but I want you to consider something. The words from James Taylor's You've Got a Friend and the Count on Me poem that I just read seem to have someone else telling us that they are there for us. I want you to consider for just a moment, what if you were the author of that song and that poem? And that's who you are for others in your life. I'm a big fan of Zig Ziglar, and he had said one of the greatest pieces of advice that I hold true in my heart. He said, you will get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. So thank you for listening to my reading. We're going to go on to our healing segment now. Phil has picked a beautiful song called Carry You. So if we can imagine that we are the author of those lyrics and that poem, and that we really are there for others, we don't have to know how healing works, but we have all experienced love. And if you just take some time, maybe to just maybe send out a thought of healing and let me be here to serve however it works, people that need healing, whether it's someone in your life, whether it's yourself, whether it's for places on the planet. Just have a little love in your heart, and we trust that the unseen world will take that love and share it where it's needed in the world. And of course, anytime we offer our love, we also receive. So let me find the healing song that Phil has picked out for us today, Carry You. And then we'll be back with Darren and then myself for the address.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Sandra, for that wonderful reading and intro to our healing segment. I'm going to start off our address part of the Sunday gathering. And as the song was playing, I was trying to think, where do I start? Where do I begin? What do I talk about? And I wanted to talk about friendship to start with. When we look at friendship, throughout our lives, we've had many friendships with many people. And in today's world, we probably still have many friendships with many people as well. But I think for me, there's different levels of friendship. There's friends you can go out for a drink with, have a laugh. There's friends you don't have a lot to do with, but you might meet up every now and again for a chat and a dinner or what have you. But then there's friends that you can truly count on and rely on. And obviously that's what we're talking about here today. And I was thinking and looking back at my life and thinking how things have changed, how things have developed, and I'm really appreciative and grateful for everything that's happened in my life or what I've experienced. And I'm one of these believers, things happen for a reason. And I've always said that, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing within my life that's happened, I've always said things happen for a reason. And for many, many years, I've never been able to express or be who I truly am. And when I was born in a really rough part of the UK. It was full of crime, gangs, and all that kind of stuff. And as I got older, I moved to a part of London that was exactly the same. It was full of gangs, drugs, crime, you name it. It wasn't a safe environment to live in. And because of that, even the school I went to, it was forever, there was crime going on left, right, and centre. I was witnessing so much going on, and the gang culture and all that kind of stuff. And for me, that prevented me being who I truly am. And for many, many years, people thought I was shy, I was an introvert, I was this, I was that. But when I look back, actually I wasn't. It's because I was limited to express myself of who I truly am, through fear of being attacked, beaten up, whatever it may be. And I witnessed this on a daily basis. I saw all these events happen, I saw people getting attacked and beaten up and all kinds of things. And I thought, in a selfish way, I thought, I don't want that to be me. I can't truly be who I am and express who I am through fear. I could be attacked or, who knows what could happen. So I was one of those people that kept my head down and just got on with life. But I got on with people as well. And I did have what people I considered to be friends. And even, believe it or not, even some of the people in these gangs that run the gangs, they were, I suppose, friends of mine. And they always looked after me and protected me. But would I say I could count on them? No, I don't think I could. But, I did have a group of friends that I've still got to this day. So I'm talking 30 odd years plus. We used to go on holiday together. We used to spend a lot of time together. We used to socialize together. But for some reason, I still couldn't express or be who I wanted to be, through this fear of the area and the environment that I live within. I was asked a question many times, damn, you're not being who you're meant to be. Are you really this? Are you really that? And I'd always just bluff my way through it. And that's probably how I lived, to be honest, the first half of my life. I won't give away my age now, because you may start making, oh, he thinks he looks older than that. But honestly, for the first half of my life, I can probably truly say, looking back now, I never lived to be who I was meant to be. I was living somebody else, to be someone else, or making out I was somebody else that I wasn't. And I suppose that was through fear and, the environment I lived in. But there came a day and I thought, "Do you know what? I can't do this anymore. I need to express and be who I'm meant to be." And this group of friends that I've known for years, we go on holiday together. There's always that fear. If I truly tell them who I am, will they resent me? Will they reject me? Will they have nothing to do with me? And then I thought, "Do you know what? I'm my own person. If people can't accept that, then I can't change that. I can't live in a life being somebody that I'm not, the fear of somebody may reject me or may not want anything to do with me." And so one day I plucked up the courage, and I came out to be who I am and who I was truly meant to be. And do you know what? I got the biggest shock ever. Each and every one of them, said to me, "Darren, why didn't you tell us earlier? Darren, we knew. Darren, we love you for who you are." And actually, that kind of got me emotional and upset, but in a positive way. I thought, all this time I've lived a life of a person that's not me. And now I can truly live how I'm meant to be. And do you know what? These group of friends are still in my life today after over 30 years. We still meet up, we still do things together. We're older now, so we've all got our own lives and families and what have you. And I thought, "Do you know what? They're the type of friends I can truly count on. I know that if anything happens, if anything goes wrong, I can truly, truly count on them." But for years, I lived thinking, can I, can't I? Even though we were close, there was always that question mark. And I think it had to do with my surroundings and the fear of where I lived. I now live in a nice, safe part of the country, thankfully. Um, so I can be who I want to be. But like I said, when you look back within your life, you do have these friends. And when I look back, I think, what is it that makes us count on these people? And I think it's the same as when we approach the spirit world. When we approach the spirit world, same as friendship, we shouldn't have any demands. We shouldn't have any expectations. We're friends with these people because they are who they are. They're not trying to be somebody we want them to be. They're truly being who they want to be. And if you think, when we first come into contact with people, whether it's friends or relationships or whatever it may be, you're not being friends with them to make them something different. Something attracts you to people, and it's usually how they are. So I think for me, when I look at people I count on and hopefully people that count on me, it's because I'm now being who I'm truly meant to be, who I truly am. And it's the same with friends. I don't demand anything of them, and I don't expect anything of them. There's almost like a silent language spoken between you and a true friend. And it's kind of like they know when you need them without you asking for that help. But in return, it should be the same. You're there for them when they need you. You kind of know when your close friends are going through troubles or problems, because they say, they may vocalize it, they may express it, they may behave in a different way. And for me, that's our cue to kind of be there for them. What's wrong? Talk to me, help me out, help me understand what's going on. And I think with friends you can truly count on, we shouldn't be judgmental either. I've been there for friends that have gone through problems or may have done something they shouldn't have done, or, it's out of character for them. And I always say to friends, if you're truthful with me, I will help you 100%. But if you lie to me, and I'm one of those people, once you've lied, and it may be the wrong way to look at it, but once you've lied to me, you've burnt that bridge, you've done that damage, and there's no going back. My trust in you's gone. And I suppose that's a friendship gone. And we've all had those friendships within our lives, where people, you're there from all the time you've helped them, and then they've not been there in return for you, or they've done something, to upset you, or they've not done right by you. And for me, when I've got people like that in my life, I don't want that. So if somebody does something wrong by me or lies to me in whatever way, they've burnt that bridge. But when I look at back of all the friendships I've been through and the friendships I still got to this day, thankfully, and I'm looking at one on the screen here in front of me, Sandra Champlain, and I like to believe, and I'm sure I'm right in saying this, we've got that type of friendship. We live a few thousand miles away from each other. We live in different time zones, different countries, but we have that friendship and that bond. If Sandra needs me, she knows I'm here no matter what time of day. And I'm sure the feeling's the same. And you know what? If I was needed for whatever reason, I'd be on that plane tomorrow and I'd be over there helping and supporting in whatever way I could. But Sandra's never asked that of me, and I've never asked it of Sandra. And to me, that's what true friendship and dependency is all about. It's like I said, you shouldn't have to ask. There should be no demands, no expectations. And that person should accept you for who you are. Shouldn't try to change you. It's like relationships. You don't get into a relationship to change somebody. You get into a relationship with somebody because you like that person for them. And to me, true friendship should be exactly the same. You should never have to ask for anything. But again, on this, you have to, for me, I'm always careful. I don't want to overstep that mark at the same time. I know I've got a dear friend who I've been friends with for many years, and we can talk about anything and everything. And one day I was in financial difficulties and we were sat having dinner and she offered me money. And I said, no, as much as it's a kind offer, it's a kind gesture, I don't want it. Because for me, I don't want them to feel that I'm in that relationship or friendship for the wrong reasons. I'm not there for your money. I'm there for your, I value your friendship more than the money. So as much as I may have needed it, or it was, you know, I could have bitten a hand off it because I needed it, I said no, because it's, to me, that could ruin a friendship. And to me, friendships are more valuable than any kind of money. So, you know, so again, it's kind of weighing up, and you get to meet these people throughout your life. And we've all come across them. And like I said, we have to behave sometimes towards people how we want them to behave to us. And for me, that's what true friendship's all about. No expectations, no demands, accept the person for who they are. We all have our quirks. We all have our annoyances. I know we do. I have many, I'm sure. But do you know what? We let those slide because they're not important. They're irrelevant. You know, it's what's in your heart that matters more than any of that. And I know I mentioned briefly the spirit world. When we talk about the spirit world, you know, oh my God, can we count on them? Yes, we can. And you know what? I often feel guilty with the spirit world because I thought even like a Sunday gathering or a demonstration of mediumship or a seance, whatever it may be, we always enter into an experience with no demands or no expectations. But you know what? The spirit world always provides something, whether it's a voice, whether it's communication, whether it's thoughts, whether it's advice, inspiration, it doesn't matter. They are there 100% for us. They always provide something for us. Love, healing, no matter what it is. We can go on, you know, and list like a laundry list of what the spirit world provide for us. And sometimes I feel guilty because I think, what do we do for them? You know, they spend all this time given to us, but what do we do for them? And sometimes before the Sunday gathering, I'll sit here in my own space, my own peace and quiet. And before we even start, I'll start sending my thanks and my love and appreciation for everything we do. And when we do a prayer, we are kind of in a way of asking for something, but in a nice way. And I think sometimes we really have to show our gratitude and appreciation to the unseen world. You know, like I said, they do so much for us and provide so much for us. And we count on them like anything. So I think sometimes we just need to reflect a little bit and be appreciative. And I know we are appreciative, but I think sometimes we need to show that, whether that's with a silent prayer, your own personal thanks, no matter what it is. And I know I've spoken to mediums of the past before, and they always say when they finish a demonstration of mediumship, they go and sit down afterwards and they personally sit and speak to each communicator that came through that evening and thank them for coming through and sharing the information. And I thought, how lovely is that? This spirit world's had the trust and faith in you to share their words and their life with you, and you've gone and personally thanked them all. I thought, to me, that's amazing. That's a great way of showing appreciation and thanks for the spirit world. But before I go, I wanted to talk about the animal world. You know, we've talked about human friends, spirit friends. What about the animal kingdom? Well, they are truly our best friends and we can truly rely on them. And those of you that all have animals, pets, no matter what it may be, how many times you come home from work or you've had a bad day, no matter what it is, they're there by your sides, showing their unconditional love. And I know I've spoken about it before on Sunday Gathering, but when you hear about people mistreating animals, dogs, no matter what it may be, they always say you can mistreat a dog, and I'd never dream of it or never condone it. I detest that 100%. But you see people that do mistreat an animal, but you go to these rescue centres, and what is the first thing this animal does? It comes up to lick you, to sniff you. They forgive so easy, and they truly are our best friends. And you know, I've got animals, you guys have all got animals. Sandra's got her birds and her squirrels. And you know what? Doesn't matter what kind of day you're having, you can rely on these guys 100% because they are always there for us. And I just want to finish off by sharing two little stories I came across on social media. I'm going to try share screen and see if it works, just to show you. And it probably won't work now. I'm trying to do it. I don't know if it's come through. No, I can't do it. So I'm just going to talk about it. I don't know how to get off this now, Sandra. Can you see me?
We can see you perfectly, so you just keep talking.
I had a different background.
Okay.
I wanted to show you a picture of a beautiful cat. I don't know if I can show it on screen actually. This one here, this beautiful little cat, and there's a little story that goes with it. Here is a photo of my cat I've had for 14 years. I'm currently pregnant, and she's not only tried to incubate my stomach, but has now built me a hidden nest. It looks exactly like the one she built herself when she was pregnant. For me to give birth in, she keeps showing me and is very excited. Wow, how can you even, begin to put that into words? And I'm just trying to find the other one. It shows how close our animals are to us and how they see and hear. I can't show this photo because it's not come out very clear, but it's a photo of a dog lying on a beach on a blanket under a duvet. And it brought a bit of a tear to my eye when I saw it, but I thought it's the perfect thing to show we can truly rely on the animal kingdom. Farewell in love. This dog named Greta had arrived at the end of her last day of life at the age of 15 years and ended with a serious illness. The owner took them to the place where they both were happiest together, her favorite beach. He caressed her fur and gently talked to her, told her about her adventures together with him and how he'd loved her so much. He did not leave her alone until her last breath on this world. This is how loyalty goes to a beloved animal until the end. When you think about it, I think animals can be our biggest savior. They show us unconditional love, and they're always there for us. And you hear stories of people when their animal comes to its end, they sometimes drop it off at the vet, and I've spoke to the vets about this. They sometimes drop their animal off at the vet and they can't be there at the end, which I totally get. But then, like the vet says to me and reminds me, this animal's been by your side through its whole life. And as difficult as it is, how bizarre is it that we can't be there for its whole life? And I think that story of the dog kind of put it all into perspective. Sometimes things are hard. Life is hard. Life can be very hard. But if we've got people that we can truly count on, it does make it that little bit easier. But we need to be the same. We need to be that person that people, whether it's a spirit world, whether it's a friend, or whether it's an animal, we need to show and demonstrate that behavior as well. We need to truly be that people, that person that everyone can rely on. So I'll now hand you over to Sandra.
Thank you so much, Darren. And first, I want to thank Diane because it was Carol King that wrote, "You've Got a Friend," not James Taylor. So thanks, Diane. Well, there's so much Darren just said, and you talk about the animals. Of course, we love them. Good news is we're going to see them all again. Absolutely. I have been researching the afterlife going on 26 years now, with now 550 some odd episodes about the afterlife in my podcasts. So I know it's real. It's hard living life though, isn't it? Being human is the hardest part. I feel like and they say you peel an onion, and each thing you learn, you're just peeling deeper and deeper into the onion. Unfortunately, it's the biggest onion and it never ends. So that's just part of life. I have some motivational quotes that I keep upstairs, actually in my bathroom. It's the first thing I see in the morning. And the other day it said, don't spend your life being at war with yourself. So we can be friends to ourselves first and foremost. And if you live in a mind anything like mine, we're beating up on ourselves about the things we could have, should have done differently. And you're worried about things. And that's all that being at war with yourself. When we can step back and say we weren't us, say we were one of our good friends, what would our good friends tell us about us? Oh, you got a good sense of humor, you care about people, you never give up, you're trusting, you're loving, oh, you're so generous. Whatever those things are that they say, I got news for you. That's who you really are. You're not what the little voice in your head says that you are. You really are a caring, kind, compassionate friend. And if you would want to be best friends for you. So I think it can start with this friendship with yourself and giving yourself a break. It's not easy being human. Nobody ever gave us a set of rules of what to do, what not to do. And as we age and learn and get wiser, I think it's all great experience for our soul. I think that's what our soul is here for. We have other people in our life. And someone once said that other people are like a piece of grit or sand in an oyster. Sometimes people can really rub us the wrong way, but ultimately we become a pearl. Well, there's also people that can nurture us and love us and be there for us. And I know there's some people that, wrote in the chat box, oh, I wish I had a friend like that when Darren was speaking. I think it's possible. You would probably never guess this about me, but I have spent most of my life without friends. Hard to believe, right? Yeah, it is, but it's true. As young people, we can make some decisions about ourselves and about other people. And as a young person, I had fallen in love with my boyfriend when I was in high school. And on my 16th birthday, my dad had taught me how to fly an airplane. On my 16th birthday, I soloed an airplane for the very first time, and I flew over Sam's house. Now, parked in Sam's driveway was my best friend's car. She was a little older than me. And yes, that's how I found out that my best friend was having an affair, in the high school years with Sam. I was devastated. And of course, he apologized, and I lost that friend. And a new friend came into my life, and we were really good friends up until about senior year. And Sam had crawled back, I love you, Sandra. You're the woman for me. You know what that's like. It's more than puppy love, I tell you, when you're in high school. Man, I think that's real love. And so I dated Sam again, and then lo and behold, he broke up with me for my new best friend. So that, my friends, started my journey with dating, right? And also with best friends. And somewhere I said to myself, maybe on an unconscious level, that you really can't trust people, that they can hurt you. And you met Greg Hartman last week, and he introduced me and my family to something called the Landmark Forum. And I realized then that these are all sabotaging statements that young Sandra made. Lots of things like, I don't matter, I don't make a difference, I'm unlovable. Yeah, it's all crazy, right? But I could tell you evidence of why I thought that way, but just a young person. So I want you to try on that we all have our stuff, whether it's not smart enough, not good enough, can't trust people, that we kind of put out to the world some things. And unfortunately, we lay them on other people. If you treat somebody like they're not trustworthy, all it takes is one small little thing. Maybe they don't show up on time when you're set to get together. And there it is. I don't trust you. And you may never have that friendship again. I'm at the point where I do have friends, and you know who you are. And I love you. And there are some people that I can be my friends with. I can have no makeup on, in my jammies, wild hair, just be me. And it feels good. And I think, and I'm hoping everyone has somebody like that, and I also have my mom in my life who, she is there for me. Now, she doesn't speak this language of all I do with the Sunday gathering and life after death. She's on her own journey. I read once, and I wrote about this in my book, We Don't Die, that at any one given time, there's something like 6 billion bits of activity going on around us. And as human beings, we can only pick up, I think it's like 400 bits every moment. So our journey and somebody else's journey, we're picking up different bits, and everybody's got their baggage and decisions they've made from their past. So I have made people wrong. I think you guys, many of you know my story, and I have some siblings that have written me off since my father died. Easy to make them wrong? Oh, yes. However, I'm not looking through life through the bits of information that they are. And of course, we know that grief can really wreak havoc on our experience and how reality occurs for us. I'm somebody, though, if we can get into communication, then we can solve all the world's problems. And I feel that, and I've made promises with my friends who I have today that if there's ever anything I do that upsets you, let's just talk. Because I make mistakes. I'm human, but I try to work from a good place. So I'm at that place. I do believe in miracles, and I do believe without my siblings behaving how they did, how I behaved around the time of my dad's death, I would have never gone looking for more reasons to believe in the afterlife. I would have never gone looking for why does grief devastate so many people. And I would have never shared with you today. So I really would need to raise a glass to my family members. We all behaved in the way we did, and I think so that I would be here today. Friends, there's something called an originating circle that I had learned about. And in the very center of that are those people that really know you, and they really get you, and they really understand you. And then further out, there might be people that you have to act a certain way with. They know enough about you, they love you, but there's some things you may not talk about. You may not talk about the Sunday gathering. You may not talk about some of the books you're reading. You may occur differently to people at work. They know just some things about you, but not everything. What is it like, though, to be fully yourself? And like I said in the reading, it would be really nice if we all had people that you've got a friend that are there for us no matter what. But I spend a lot of time, as you know, not having that. I think the magic comes from what Zig Ziglar said. You can have everything you want in your life if you help people get what they want. And where to look for that, I think, is what your own passions are. Whatever they may be, get involved. Some people are big brothers, big sisters, they volunteer their time. You find something you're passionate about, you're going to find like-minded souls that are as well. So that little voice inside of our head wants us to take the easy way out. It wants us to just watch Netflix and, whatever, stay home. But you are your best self when you are with other people, when you're not listening to that voice. How do I know that? Because I'm here with you right now sharing. I can't be listening to any self-defeating thoughts in my head. So be out with other people. I am extremely lucky because I never knew how many people were listening to my podcasts. I never knew how many people read my book. I never knew how many people were coming to the Sunday gathering. And I've met some of you face to face, and I've talked to some of you on the phone or on Zoom. And it's like, oh my God, you could be a best friend of mine for the rest of my life. You put yourself out there and you're there for other people, and you're going to attract more people like yourself with those same interests. So I do think you need to give in honor to and able to receive. And when Darren talked about gratitude, it reminded me of a story about saying thank you. Someone once said, if grandma keeps giving you Christmas gifts and you don't send a thank you card or you don't call her to say thank you, she may stop sending them. I don't know how the universe works, but I do know the more gratitude we feel and the more that we express that, I personally feel like miracles show up in my life. Some are small, some are big, but it's saying thank you. It's saying thank you, even if you don't know who you're thanking. When something good happens, just like, okay, somebody's there, thank you. And the last thing I want to talk about somebody being there is I personally believe, this is my personal belief, I won't push it on you, But not only do we have loved ones who are around us, who have lived this life, and who are, they're very much living their life in the afterlife, but they're also there for us. They really are. They're encouraging us. We see on the Sunday gathering just how close they are with our medium demonstration. So they're there. But I also believe that we have guides. I don't know too much who they are, what their names are, anything like that. I think they come and go. I think depending on what we're doing in our life, there are those who can help us out with certain things. But I do think that we've had one guide, a person who's been with us since the beginning. I don't know if we met them before we came here and they said, I'm going to be there for you. You're going to forget that I'm around, but I am never going to leave your side. And what if we lived with this one person that is with us, who loves us more than any person who has ever loved us? They love us. They see all of our struggles, and no matter what we go through, they are doing their best to plant ideas in our mind and send their love to us. Could you imagine signing up for a job where no one ever knows you're there? And some poor person thinks they're alone, but meanwhile, you've got this friend that never leaves your side. So if you want to play along with me just for this week and talk to your guide, just if you want to create a name or a persona for them, or just whoever my loving friend is, thank you. Thank you for pulling me out of some situations that weren't so good. Thank you for putting new ideas in my mind. Thank you for loving me. And with that, be your own best friend. Don't be at war with yourself. You are special. So I hope you got something out of this address. And yeah, I don't think I have anything left. But you know what? I am a friend, and I'll be there for you, as will Shirley Ann and Darren and Carrie and Phil, of course. You don't need to go through anything alone. I'd like to now change hats, and we're going to move on to our demonstration of mediumship. And please also stay with us till the end of the Sunday gathering, because there's some pretty big things happening next week I don't want you to miss. Shirley Ann has graciously donated her time, and she is a friend, a longtime friend to us, to be our medium. For those of you who are new, or if you've heard this before, just pretend you've heard it for the very first time now. Shirley Ann has done a lot of training and a lot of giving, and very generous. And she's got a commitment with our friends in the spirit world that they can use her and tell their stories and help mend broken hearts and help us know that our loved ones live on. So what it will look like is she will give us some initial bits of information about the person in the spirit world that has contacted her. She might say, I've got a mom here, maybe what they've done for a living, who knows? Those in the spirit world have this all sorted out. Just like Phil had planned our order of service and the songs, they know exactly who's going to step forward. They know there's many steps ahead of us. They knew just who's going to be on our Sunday gathering today. So they will put thoughts and feelings and maybe pictures and maybe tastes or smells or songs, who knows, within Shirley Ann's imagination. And she will give us some initial bits of information about the spirit person that is reaching out to her. So she'll share those with us. What we ask is if you can understand all the bits of information she shares about your person. Now, your person no longer walks this earth. So they do need to be a member of the spirit world for this. Could be a friend, could be a family member, could be somebody from work or somebody who's a little distant. But if you can understand all the bits of information about the person she is describing, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, this is always the time that you can exercise your little finger here. Go find your raise hand button on your device and press it for me. Why not? You can burn half a calorie by doing this. And why this is important is because, well, now it should say lower hand, and you can press it again so your hand goes down. On our Sunday gatherings, we usually have about 150 people with us live, and of course, thousands watch the replay. But we want you to be able to understand the information she shares. Sometimes 2 or more people can understand it, And she'll work a little harder and get some more information from our spirit world friend to get it down to where one person is left with their hand raised. At that point, when there is one person left, I press a magic button on my side. You'll get a little pop up on your screen and it'll ask you to unmute yourself. Now, you can't see the unmute button now. It takes me working that on my side. If you are somebody who works with Shirley Ann, please know that your loved one is here on behalf of everybody in our Sunday gathering to let everyone know that not only do they live on, but they're still a part of our life. They still love us. And so listen to the messages that come through. Listen to how close they are. Listen to the love and know that your people are just as close. So there's just usually a few representatives from the spirit world that come through, depending on time. And they are with us. If you work with Shirley Ann, your job is easy. All we need from you is a good, strong yes, no, or I don't know to the information that Shirley Ann is giving. It happens far too often that there's some mediums out there that you end up telling who the people are. You know, they might say, I have an M name. Who am I talking about? And you say, Mom. And they want you to believe that they brought your mom through. Well, that's not how it works. We get from Shirley Ann the information, and you just say yes, no, or I don't know. Don't feel bad if something doesn't fit. Just say no. No simply means new opportunity, and Shirley Ann will try to clear up what the information is. It's a beautiful opportunity to be together with the spirit world. Is it just every week on the Sunday gathering? No, your loved ones are around you so much, and they love you. They really do. But we don't trust the thoughts that come into our mind, these gentle little goosebumps that we feel from time to time, or these thoughts that come out of the blue about your loved one or something that you did together. Those are all just gentle ways that they say, I'm still here with you. So with that, we like to play a song before every demonstration. And Phil has picked out a song called You Are Loved by a band called Stars Go Dim. So this is some new music for me, but it's a lovely song. So let me play that. Just sit back, relax, talk to your loved ones. Your room is packed with your loved ones. They do love you, and they're here with you. And let's enjoy the song, and then we'll say hi to Shirley Ann. You most definitely are loved. And you know who else is loved? Our medium and friend for today, Shirley Ann Sharp. Hi, Shirley Ann.
Hello, Sandra. Hello, Darren. And it's just so lovely to be here with everybody once again. So, upon saying that, I would like to move my mind to the spirit world, my awareness. And I do feel I have a gentleman with me. And I actually do feel that this gentleman would have worked, I'm going to say, for the cloth. I feel as though he would have worked with one of the more orthodox religions that we have around. And I do feel as though you would have seen this gentleman in church actually doing his stuff. So can we throw that out, please, Sandra?
Absolutely. Okay, friends, who understands this information? Go ahead and press your raise hand button. All right, Shirley Ann, we've got our friend Jane with her hand raised. Jane, if you could unmute yourself. Hi, Jane.
Hello.
Hello, Jane. Thank you for raising your hand, Jane. Now, I do know, and I will disclose this, that, Jane, you have a lot to do, or have had a lot to do in the past, and still do, with more orthodox religions.
Yes.
But with this gentleman, I want to say that you would be aware that this gentleman actually went into areas to help disadvantaged children and families.
Yes.
Alrighty, and I know that this gentleman, there was a true calling within this gentleman. You could almost feel his pure love for humanity, I want to say.
Yes.
And Jane, I do feel as though you would have had quite private conversations with this gentleman, because I know that this gentleman was very, oh gosh, I feel such a peacefulness in his voice.
Yes.
But I do know that if he needed to assert authority, he was definitely capable, because I feel at times that voice would rise with a lot of power.
Yes.
And I also feel, Jane, when you would have gone to see his services, he would literally command the whole place. And I do know in the church that he spoke a lot. There was a beautiful, huge stained glass window, very traditional.
Yes, I think I remember that. There was.
And where he stood would be almost in front of this beautiful stained glass window. So as you looked up, you would see him, and then following behind this wonderful stained glass window.
I'm not sure about that.
All righty. Now I do feel, Jane, gosh, I feel as though he would have been very close to your family.
Yes.
And I also know that this gentleman would have visited your family.
Yes.
Because I do feel the conversations within the whole family being, everybody was involved. However, I do feel with this gentleman, you were the one that would always ask a lot of questions.
Yes, that would be right.
Because I'm feeling from this gentleman like he has a lovely sense of humor too, I might add. He can see the humor in how he would say something and you'd literally turn it upside down, and he could see the humor in that. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Because I do feel with him, you used to test me. You used to put me to going back in my knowledge and my resources, because you were the one that would come out with facts.
Probably, yes.
All righty, Jane. This gentleman, I do feel as though he was quite he made an impact on your life.
He did, yes.
And it was also too the way you thought. And it's almost like when I look at the world, this man impacted on how I thought about the world.
Yes.
Because this gentleman, honestly, I just feel so full of empathy for, people struggling in life, because I even feel as though he would have worked with people who were really hungry. They didn't have enough money to actually function at any normal level.
I think so, yes.
And I feel with this gentleman, he wouldn't, his persona, the way he dealt with people, was not to preach. He showed through action.
Yes.
Thank you, Jane. And I know that this gentleman, I do feel as though he passed into old age, but during his whole career with his church, he was so well respected.
Yes, he was at the end, yes.
Also, Jane, I feel as though you would be aware that he had an opportunity to move, and I don't really know what it's called, but further up in theology. He could move. He moved up within the church, or had the opportunity to move up within the church.
I don't know about that. Not sure.
Alrighty, because I feel with this gentleman, it wouldn't have mattered what opportunities come up. It would not have changed the core person that he was, and you would understand that about this gentleman.
Yes, absolutely.
But I do feel also what our philosophy that we are here today with, this gentleman would have had an open enough mind with his structured religion behind him to actually look at what we're doing and the way we're thinking.
I'm not sure what you mean, sorry.
I feel as though this gentleman would have had an open mind to our philosophy today.
I don't know that.
Okay, because I do feel this gentleman was interested in other religions.
I'm not sure about that.
All righty, Jane. We will leave that side of it. But this gentleman, I feel as though you would have known him quite a chunk of your life in that sort of, I want to go through those teen years through to some of your development years.
Not that long.
All righty. But during the time that he was with you, the influence that he placed on your life was very, very solid.
Absolutely, yes.
Also, too, I know this gentleman knew your parents very well.
He did meet them.
Alrighty. Well, Jane, I want to just leave this gentleman's love with you. I do feel as though he's giving me the impression here that you actually think of him quite often.
That's right, yes.
So I want to leave you with his love, and I want to say his influence upon the way you think, because I know with you, you have a wide-ranging spectrum of how you think and how you look at things, but it's influenced your whole life in the fact that you help other people a lot. So I will leave you with his love, and gosh, I feel gratitude for being the person that you are.
Thank you so much, Shirley Ann. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, for being with us today.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Shirley Ann.
Okay, now, Sandra, I feel like I have a young man here who was really in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I do feel as though his passing would have involved guns, weapons, and this would have been part of his passing. I do feel as though the recipient I'm looking for, the person I'm looking for, would know that he was involved in, I'm going to say, some pretty dubious things, for want of a better expression. Can I just throw that out there, please? I also feel like this would have been a family member, may I say.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, who understands this information? Go ahead and press your raise hand button. No hands have rushed up, Shirley Ann.
Okay, I do feel this young man here, and I do feel as though he passed away with gunshot. So I will drop the relationship of family, and I will drop your knowledge of knowing that he was involved in some dubious things. You would know a young man here who would have been in the wrong place at the wrong time and passed away with a gun wound.
Okay, we have Barbara with her hand raised.
Barbara,
press your unmute button.
Barbara, you would understand that this young man passed away at the scene.
Yes.
Okay, and
Go ahead.
you would understand that he passed away at the scene.
Yes.
All righty, and I feel as though after his passing, further knowledge of what had happened came to light.
Yes.
Alrighty, and I feel as though this young man, you would know that he had, I'm going to say, secrets that started to come out.
Yes.
Alrighty. And I want to say that the secrets involved things that were illegal and would have drawn attention from quarters of the community who would have been fairly, I'm going to say rough and tough.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm just trying to find the right words, Barbara, as long as you know where this gentleman is, because I do feel like this young man, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. What happened to him was totally out of the blue, totally unexpected, and quite shocking. It was a shock.
I'm not sure. If this was inflicted by someone else.
Yes, it was inflicted by somebody else.
Okay, no.
No. Okay, Barbara, thank you.
Sorry.
We need to get to the right person.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, So I'm going to put this out here again, Sandra. I hope everybody's listened to the information. Young gentleman, wrong place, wrong time. And I do feel it was gun wound and how he passed.
Thank you very much. Does it make sense to anyone, friends? It might not be someone real close to you, so just have a think on that. Rachel, let's bring her in. Rachel Ann, if you want to press your unmute button. Hi, Rachel Ann.
Hello.
Hello, Rachel. You would understand a gentleman like this?
Well, the guy I know, they said he shot himself, which was a shocker. So I don't know if that is anything.
Okay, no, I do feel as though somebody else inflicted this on this gentleman. Wrong place, wrong time. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
All right, we've got two ladies with their hands raised. We've got Michelle and Christy. Michelle, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Hey, Michelle, and have we got Christy?
We sure do. Christy. Hi, Christy.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
Okay, Christy and Michelle, you'd both understand a gentleman that passed away with gun wounds. I feel as though he passed at the scene, and I feel as though he shouldn't have been where he was. Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, I can take that, Shirley, on that.
Thank you, Michelle. And Christine, can you take that?
Yes.
Now, I want to say to you, it was almost, what Darren was talking about, this gang warfare, this gang mentality was involved in this young man's passing.
Yes.
And Christy?
I'm not sure of a gang, but mischievous activity.
You're not sure.
Mischievous activity.
Mischievous activity. Because I do feel as though, gosh, I feel as though this gentleman, when he passed, something went wrong in the with people around him. Something went badly wrong, and this is how he ended up the way he was.
Yes, I can take that, Shirley, on. Yeah.
And Christy?
Yeah.
All righty. Just hang on there, Michelle. But Christy, can you understand that there would have been drugs around this whole thing that happened with this gentleman?
Yes.
All righty. Michelle, thank you. I do feel I'm with Christy.
Okay, thanks very much, Shirley. Thank you.
But you would know that this young man, I actually feel as though he had also been into drugs himself at some point.
Yes.
And it had got to a fairly serious stage, may I say, Christine?
Yes, I really don't know. I was really young then.
Okay, but you would know that this young man always made you laugh. He had a real sense of humor.
Yes, he did.
Because I feel like he was very playful. And Christy, I feel like he would have played tricks on you when you were little.
He did, yes, he joked.
But I feel that the bond between you, the love between you, Christy, this was actually a family member as well.
Yes.
I want to almost say to you, he would have been as close as a brother.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, because I have that companionship between you, and I feel as though for you, hearing that he passed, even though that you were young at that point, it still affected you on how and what happened.
Yeah, it did.
And I really feel like this gentleman, there's such, and I just feel regret with him for being where he was, for doing what he was, and missing out on so much of life that had to come. Because I feel, Christy, am I correct in saying that this young man also had a brother?
Yeah.
And this brother, his brother, I feel is still with us.
Right.
And his life has moved on dramatically, like he's gone ahead and got a career, and he's had a family, and just had this whole life.
Right.
And there's just a regret with this gentleman, a shame that he didn't do that. He chose another path. But it's more about remembrance with you of him, because he can I say that that it was a long time ago that he passed. Some time has passed, and it's almost like he doesn't come to mind anymore.
Not as much.
Yeah, I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered to you with much love and much just gratitude for being the person you are, because you have developed so much within yourself.
Well, yeah, trying to.
Through, I might add, a lot of hard work. And he's also making me aware of the hardships that you've had to go through, and you have strived to keep moving, to keep marching, even though sometimes things were, really quite dark. You chose to march through them.
Right.
And he's also making me aware that in your life, you have people that rely on you and that you have to care for.
Right. Yeah.
So it's the respect here of you being able to do that where he couldn't. There were parts of